Now I request to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Gireesh Kumar J.
Dr. Gireesh Kumar J. He is currently serving as Assistant Professor and the Head of the Department of Law at the Central University of Kerala. He is a graduate in both economics and law and a postgraduate in constitutional and administrative law. He has specialized in the human rights of the disadvantaged, differently abled, and the working class. Dr. Kumar has done extensive research in the field of disability law and human rights and has acquired PhD from the University of Kerala in 2012. On the topic legal protection of mentally challenged people in India. He has served as an assistant professor in the Faculty of Law, University of Delhi for a period of 10 years from 2005 to 2015. Dr. Kumar has a considerable number of publications to his credit in national as well as international journals on various topics, ranging from human rights of the marginalized sections of constitutional and administrative law of India. Dr. Kumar has participated in and presented research papers at several national and international conferences, including the Annual International Conference on Law, Regulation of Public Policy 2013, organized by the Global Science and Technology Forum in Singapore. He is an academic member of the Global Science and Technology Forum, an international body, and is a life member of the All India Law Teachers Congress, which is a national level organization of law teacher in Indian universities. Dr. Kumar is a visiting professor at the University of Kerala, Kannur University, Sri Shankara Sanskrit University, Kaladi, Rajiv Gandhi National Law University, Patiala, and many other institutions of higher learning across the country. His vision of developing legal education as a powerful tool for social change and inclusive development of the society is evident from the social service endeavors he has engaged in through outreach programs of National Service Scheme cells both at the University of Delhi and the Central University of Kerala. Sir, I request you.
Very warm good morning to one and all. Thank you, ma'am, for your nice words of introduction. What I feel special about the Global Research Conference Forum is it is always engaged in organizing multidisciplinary or multicultural events in the Constitution. And Constitution is the mother of legislations. Based on the constitutional rights, laws have come. There are many laws we know for the protection of human rights and basic rights of Dalits and indigenous people. I can mention some of them. We cannot comment on the effectiveness or practicability of all these laws. We know that all laws like the Untouchability Offences Act, Protection of Civil Rights Act, Land Reforms Act concerning the land as a means of livelihood for the tribals, Dalits and indigenous people, Land Conservancy Act, Kerala Scheduled Tribes and Land Restoration and Alienated Lands Act, Atrocities, Prevention of Atrocities Act, all these legislations. In a program recently conducted on land reforms, I had to do a small study on the effectiveness of land reforms, and we had to find that the Land Reforms Act, which happened in Kerala, couldn't meet its expectations. And the Tribal Land Act finally validated all the land grabbing from tribals happened till 1986 legal. So the people of the forest, the real owners of the land, were made landless, and Dalits and other backward communities in the state or in the country had been ghettoized. They were made to live in slums and inhuman circumstances, both by the social reasons of caste-based oppression as well as the ineffective legislative, executive, and judicial measures. Then, in spite of all these constitutional safeguards and laws, the real life of Dalits and indigenous people face big problems like deprivation, stigmatization, then deliberately ignoring the vision and mission of our constitution. Owing to the adverse social conditions, Dalits and tribals and Adivasis have been forced to perform menial jobs like scavenging, serving the affluent and upper class in the tasks of hunting. Very, very inhuman working conditions and inhuman living conditions they had to face. Moving to the differently abled. I hope I'm not consuming much time. Please remind me, sir, when to stop. I can please focusing on the differently abled issue because my direct area of study is on differently abled. By all counts, we can see a considerable part of the world's differently able population live in India. We have data of 2001 and 2011 only. I have been searching in the sources and I have been contacting my friends in different government departments like the National Sample Survey Organization. Everybody is telling that the 2021 census didn't happen due to COVID-19 problem because every 10 years the census data is taken. And the recent figure about the number of disabled people is not available. This is the latest in 2011 census. That it is estimated that 600 million people across the world have one or the other form of disability. And how come disability becomes a vulnerability? We can see there is a charity-based approach. That whatever we give or we do for the differently disabled, earlier they were called disabled, now differently able. They were receiving a charity of the able people. This has been the social construct and the political spirit and even the legal approach for so many years, so many decades in the global society as well as in our country. But this social and right-based approach has changed the modality that disability now is never considered as a degrading status. This is the human rights model, which explained it as a condition of reduced ability of an individual to take part in normal community lives, equal with his non-disabled peers. And this model underlines that disability doesn't require or demand your charity, and whatever the differently able people get or demand is their due share, and what is their right to be claimed from the society. Charity versus right approach. These two approaches had been in conflict for so many decades in the human history. And finally, you can see 2006, there was the latest United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Persons with Disabilities. And we too had amended our legislation. We can see it is 2016 Persons with Disabilities Act. See the difference of time, the lagging of time. 2006, the United Nations Convention counts rights of the disabled and it was ratified by India, but to make a law or to reform the existing law from that charity model to the right model, the Indian government has taken almost a decade and the law has come in 2016 for giving reservation, for constructing in when we enter this hotel, we have seen a ramp on one side for making institutions, buildings, as well as every spaces differently able friendly. We have taken much time. Now, big education institutions, sometimes I have seen having a department of disability studies, but there is no lift, an elevator for a disabled person to go upstairs. It happens. We have to develop that disabled friendly culture. Still, we don't consider it as a democratic right of the differently able. We sometimes show charity to them and we feel that we have done our best or we have done our part. It's not truly the fact. And I'm intending to stop here because of the time constraints. I have included the problems of the working class, the laborers, the refugees, women, children, etc. in the slide. And it can be taken for discussion some other point of time, if time permits today itself, or I am leaving the slide in the database of our conference. We can go to it and continue the discussion at any point of time. The point I had to make in this address is that our society, even in this 21st century, didn't meet with its expectations. We had a big struggle for attaining freedom from the colonial rulers. But if we ask ourselves the question whether we had really achieved that freedom, even in the year 2020, our answer could not be a very much strong and commanding yes, because we are not meeting our expectations. We have to fulfill many promises which our constitution had made to the vulnerable sections of the society like Dalits, tribals, the landless people, the stateless people, refugees, the disabled people, women, even though we have big laws, strong laws to protect women, quite often many people are commenting that they are misused also. But see, if a woman is illiterate and impoverished, if she is living in poverty and destitution, when her right is violated, the situation is different. Rights are protected when it comes to privileged people, be it women, or my learned friend has presented a paper on transgender right. Being a person from law, I had developed some interest because our students also doing many work on transgender rights. In transgender rights also, if you are able to go to the authority and claim your right is respected and protected to some extent. And if you are in an underprivileged group, it's not the fact. The thing or the real fact being mere provision of rights, mere statement of rights in big documents like Universal Declaration, constitutions and laws cannot serve any purpose. The right, the Universal Declaration's preamble, the first statement says every human being is equal in dignity and rights and endowed with the consciousness and reason to enjoy that right. But we cannot totally accept that statement. Of course, everyone may be endowed with dignity and equal rights, but everyone is not having the capacity, the reason and conscience to enjoy that right because of illiteracy, poverty, ignorance, disability, and social oppression. Many people are not having the capacity to come forward and claim and realize their rights. So what is the solution? What is the solution in such a situation? The solution is lying on us, academicians, the so-called civilized people, educated people, who are having more social responsibility, that we should not be happy only if our right is protected. We should be happy, we should be ensuring that the rights of our fellow people, the people around us who are illiterate, ignorant, and deprived and exploited, their rights also, that is also our responsibility. Every person in the society should be having that sense of responsibility. The Jeremy Waldron, the great theorist about rights, has underlined this, that the inquiry about one's own right doesn't stop at enjoying his own right only. He should continue that quest by ensuring that right of everyone is protected to the maximum extent. So when we go to the street, we see many atrocities. We are just passing by. We should go after this trouble. No, we have bigger responsibilities, and our conferences and endeavors like this which is taken by the noble organization led by my dear and learned friend, Dr. Prakash Divagaran sir, this Global Research Conference Forum, always focusing on multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary academic exercises, should develop and inculcate that kind of a value system in all of us. And many of us are teachers and researchers. When we go back to our institutions, we should be able to transfer the thoughts we gather from this kind of events to our own students, colleagues, and fellow people. I wish all the grand success to this event, and I express my sincere gratitude to my learned friend, Dr. Prakash Divagaran, and all the members of the organization and all the dignitaries on and off the dais, my dear presenters, my students also, my student Aishwarya has come for her presentation. Many others will be joining, I hope. Thank you all. Wishing all of you a splendid day of conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.